Hey everybody, just kicking around in my shop, not necessarily doing a project, but I had an idea. I came across a lot of tools that I just kind of keep in a pile somewhere, or I throw in my little toolbox I have next to my bench. I came up with this idea that, these are all my go-to tools. Say that 5 times fast. Say that 5 times fast. And I thought it'd be a good idea to do a video on not anything specific about tools, but just, these little inexpensive hand tools that we all have, or that we need that you don't know you need. I have a pile here that I kind of keep around handy. They're not necessarily expensive hand tools, they're fairly inexpensive actually, and this is just a pile that I kind of keep, close by because I always need them. But, more specifically, this is a screwdriver that I think I found on the ground outside a few years back that I use it all the time. Not necessarily for the purpose that it's intended for. I use in paint and, stains of that nature, or sometimes I use it to chisel something. It's one of those, screwdrivers that I just don't care about. I don't care if I damage it. This is another thing I kind of keep handy, sitting around, usually on the floor. It's made by Stanley. It's good for scribing stuff. It removes a lot of material quickly, especially on softwoods. This right here, we all have one of these kicking around. Probably you got it from your grandfather's toolbox at one point. I think actually this did belong to my grandfather. It's good for inside measurements. You can dial it in, and just get some good inside measurements. This is a good 10-in-1 tool that I use it for everything. Scraping, dried up glue off the floor or something, or, off a piece of wood. There's a nice point where you can kind of get into, find a detail or a smaller area to remove wood or something like that. I use this all the time. The reason why I'm going through this stuff is because I have this new go-to tool. Again, say that 10 times fast. I was doing a project recently where I needed to install a vanity top, and keeping the existing vanity cabinet in place. And of course, the plumbing didn't match. The P-trap needed to come down, and I needed to move a few other things. I also needed to notch the back of the cabinet because of the size of the vanity, I needed to move the cabinet closer to the wall. I remembered that I bought my father a tool about a year back that he never used. He never even took it out of the package. So I went over there, I borrowed it, and I took it home. And you know what? He's not getting it back because I love it. I use it on just about every project or every other project, and it comes in handy. It's become my new go-to tool. It's kind of a combination of a power tool and a hand tool. I'm going to show it to you right now. All right, here it is, the Dremel Multimax. We've all seen these on TV, and let me start off by explaining what you get when you buy this. You get the hard shell case, which is very nice. You get the instructions, you get the Dremel obviously, and you get a few attachments. You get the sanding attachment, which is very useful. I can already see the need for this to get into tight corners with sanding. And you get an Allen wrench, and you get a few cutters. You get this flush cutting bit right there. And also you get, I guess they call this the drywall cutter, but I've used it for other applications. And basically how it works is, it works on the principle of oscillation. It doesn't drill, there's no spinning motion going on. It's fairly quiet. It's about as loud as a cordless drill. It's fairly self-explanatory. There's a dial right there. It's variable speed. I believe it's between 10,000 and 21,000. And you have your on-off button there. And there's the business end. And now the way this works is how to change your bit is basically you get your Allen wrench right there, and you have this clamping screw, they call it, with a washer, and you have these indicator pins that protrude, and the bit just slides below the washer onto the pins, and then you tighten it down. It's a matter of 15 seconds to replace a bit. But this unit is very quiet, very ergonomical. It's very comfortable in your hands. And very lightweight, and there's a little vibration, but there's no torque to it. I've used it on a number of projects, and it's a great do-it-yourselfer tool just to have around. Whenever you need to cut something, a little piece of wood or a piece of molding or something, you can just grab this out, and in a matter of seconds you're cutting it. And because of the oscillating motion, you don't really get a lot of sawdust kicking around. You do get some that just falls to the floor, but doesn't fly around like a circular saw. All right, I'm going to give you a few examples. As you can see, I've already gotten started playing around with it. You can pretty much use it like a chisel with this flush cutting bit, and just kind of chisel your way into it and accurately dial into the depth that you want. All right, so that's my new go-to tool. Like I said, it's gonna be a staple in my shop. I'm gonna have it readily available. It's great. It's just powerful enough for a hand tool where you can hold it and not have a lot of vibration or a lot of loud noises. And you know, again, you can be as accurate as you want with it. I did this neck pocket in less than 15 minutes with it. And, you know, again, I was just playing around with it. I wasn't really trying to be accurate, and I was, you know, demonstrating different cuts with it. So it's kind of messed up looking. But I was able to get the depth that I wanted and the actual layout that I wanted with the Multimax. And this is a great tool just for the do-it-yourselfer, you know, to have around the house. When you're cutting small projects, you don't want to drag out the big tools. For those little cuts, this is perfect. It cuts anything from plastic to wood. There it is. Say that 5 times fast. Go-to tools, go-to tools, go-to tools, go-to tools.